What's up, guys? This is Mr. PXW11556 back again with another video, and today I'm gonna be interviewing RasslingRantsReviews. You want to say anything before we start the interview?
I just want to say, hey, what's up, everybody? It's Big Mike, RasslingRantsReviews, hanging out with Mr. PXW, and hoping to have a good show ahead of us.
All right. So first question: how did you get into pro wrestling?
I got into pro wrestling via my stepfather when I was around 6 years old. I had never really seen it beforehand. He started watching it one afternoon. I can't remember if it was Superstars or Cavalcade. And I was just stuck in. I just got attracted to it. I think I've seen like Paul Orndorff and Adrian Adonis back in the day. And those two characters were, Adrian Adonis was an over-the-top character, and I just got drawn in. And from there I started to see Hulk Hogan, and everybody else that was a major character in the 80s. And here I am, this many years later.
Okay. What was your thoughts on HBK HBK when he won the world title for the first time?
I thought it was great. I guess it's going back. I still wasn't as big as a fan as I am now, or knew as much about wrestling because I was, still a young guy. But I loved it how I was elevated. Because he did everything. He was right from tag to intercontinental, and then he got, this push to be WWF champion. And, he did everything right. He brought in a mentor like Jose Lothario, and he trained, and he worked. And he just had one epic match, and it just, I don't know, I thought it was a great match. First time it was ever done, an Iron Man match, or at least in the WWF at the time. For someone like Shawn Michaels to win it, it was well-deserving. It definitely was well-deserving.
What is your thoughts on the Attitude Era?
The Attitude Era was great. I don't think it was much different than the PG era that everybody's saying we need to go back to the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era was great because you had WCW, you had competition in the Attitude Era. So that's what made the Attitude Era great. Plus the storylines were a little bit edgier. But the wrestling itself wasn't much different. Sure, you might have had a ladder match or an Extreme Rules match or
Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell with some insane spots, but the wrestling hasn't changed. And same with Monday Night Raw. If you look at Monday Night Raw from 1998 to now, 1998 had just as many promos, just as many vignettes, the same amount of matches that were 5 minutes long, 7 minutes long. It was not much different other than the edgier storylines. It's a little more blood and a little more TNA. Well, not that type of TNA, but you know what I mean.
Okay, so when was the wrestling moment like that you seen that you knew that you was a wrestling fan for sure?
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say WrestleMania 6. Just being able to go there at such a young age, and just being able to suck in the atmosphere. Because even at a young age, too, the last WrestleMania that I went to, which was WrestleMania 23, once you're involved in a WrestleMania, you feel it. You know it. It's magical. It truly is. It's not a story. It's not, a lie when someone says it's magical or it's electrifying. You just get warped in there because you see certain matches, and I did on that day, like Warrior Hogan, Roddy Piper versus Bad News Brown. Those are just matches that were, that sucked you in and made you a true believer.
Okay, so another question. Do you think Jeff Jarrett is a mid-card piece of shit?
Not really. I think he gets a lot of flack because he's the owner and he's put himself over for such a long time. But I think he can be in the main event given the right storyline. Like, this feud with Angle has gone on forever. However, it's been one of the better things that TNA's put on in recent months. We've got stellar matches. Out of it, you can't say that one. I don't think any one of those matches were bad. Even early on, Jeff Jarrett, when he first founded TNA, he wasn't pushing himself to be over. But if you look at TNA then, he was really the only top star, because you didn't have, at that time, you didn't have the stars that you have now, because AJ Styles wasn't over with anybody because no one knew who he was. You had R-Truth, you had Ken Shamrock, Jeff Jarrett was the only one that really should have been over at that time. And then midway through TNA's longevity here, 5 years into it, he wasn't around. He took himself out of the scene. So I don't think he puts himself over as much as people think. And he could be trapped in the mid-card and be like, and be like the number one mid-card guy, but he has the ability to be in the main event.
Okay, so do you think, I know Mr. Just Right, by the way, shout out to him.
What's up, Just Right?
Mr. Just Right, he made a video a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago, I don't know. Made a video saying if R-Truth was K-Quick, do you think he would have won the world title? I'm gonna ask you that same question.
No. K-Quick was a mid-carder. He was lucky. He had a good spot with BG James, or at that time Road Dogg. He was just a character. I don't think if he had stayed with the WWE, he might have got an opportunity because of just being there for as long as he would have been. But I don't know. I just don't see him being world champion anytime. Because he wasn't TNA. That's because TNA was a different product at one time. Now they're trying to be similar to WWE. So who knows if he would have had a chance now, because it's changed so much.
Okay. What is your favorite wrestler of all time?
Of all time is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. No ifs, ands, or buts. I just remember him right from when I was a young guy being sort of like over the top. He was one of the first high flyers that mesmerized me. His match with Steamboat at WrestleMania 3, being as young as I was, I knew it was awesome. I was actually growing up from my childhood. My uncle, being up here in Canada, I didn't get much stuff from the States. I didn't get any NWA or AWA. And my uncle would send me tapes, because I remember one year for my birthday, like my 10th birthday, he got me two figures, and one was Ric Flair, one was Arn Anderson. I didn't know who they were. So he's like, "Oh, you don't know who these guys are? You're a big wrestling fan?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, let me start sending you the tapes." So I started getting tapes from NWA and stuff, and I seen Flair and Steamboat.
The Four Horsemen.
Yeah, but Steamboat still stuck out to me then. He wasn't as flamboyant as he was in WWE. He had a totally different gimmick, but he was still amazing.
Do you think Kurt Angle is going to come back to WWE at some point?
Fuck off. Can't answer right now. Sorry about that. He may, near the end of his career, if Vince wants him to. He doesn't need to, but I can see him coming back at the end of his career, maybe for a Hall of Fame shot if Vince allows him. But I don't see him coming back to wrestle full-time for WWE.
Okay, I know you're part of the group, but what's your thoughts on the IWWS?
IWWS, even though we're on hiatus right now because we're working on some situations, I think it's one of the better groups out there. And I'm not knocking anybody else because I liked some of the guys in the PWP. I really don't know anybody else in the other groups because I don't watch the Gurus of Greatness. I don't know too much about the YWOs. I never followed Nate. So I heard that's all done with anyway, so whatever the hell that was, it was. So I don't know what else is out there for groups, but the IWWS, we're out there, and we're doing things differently. I don't know, we're just a different group of guys that are doing different things and talking about wrestling. with our topics and with our daily shows. I don't know. We're just different, I think, than everybody else. Everybody else seems to be doing it for the wrong reasons, and we just started because we want to talk about wrestling only.
Okay, my last question. What's your thoughts on ROH?
If you don't watch it, you're dumb. No, I can't be that blunt about it. But ROH, if you're watching wrestling to watch wrestling, that's why you're watching ROH. If you're watching wrestling to watch Days of Our Lives, that's why you're watching the WWE. If you're watching TNA to get the TNA, you're going to get both because they're trying to be WWE Junior. But ROH, you got guys that are going out there and putting their body on the line 100% more than WWE because I don't know, they're just giving their all day in and night out. Even if they're just on an indie show, like you got an ROH worker like Davey Richards who just actually graced an indie ring in Canada here on the weekend.
Where's that flag?
Alright, so that was my last question. So thank you guys for watching. Shout out to RasslingRantsReviews. His link will be in the description, as well as the IWS.
I'm sorry about getting all distracted at the end of the freaking phone calls.
It's alright, man. I get it all the time, dude. Shout out to the IWS, Wrestling Rants Review, Mugger Baby, the leader. So thank you guys.
Check us all out. We're gonna be back. Don't worry. At least I'm hoping to be back with the IWS. Like I said, we had some situations. I don't know if you all seen Mugger's video. I hope no one's ever unsubscribed. When we get back in full force, things are going to be 110% better, and it's not just for us. It's going to be 110% better for the viewers. So spread the word. Let everybody know we're back. We're going to be back, and tell more people to check us out because there's some big things in store, I think.
Okay. Thank you guys for watching. Follow me on Twitter. Sub to my main account, Mr. PXW115.
Yes, sub to this guy right here, Mr. PXW, one of the most underrated guys in IWC. So this is your first time checking him out. Subscribe and tell your friends to subscribe as well.
Alright, by the way, nice profile picture, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.